Hello, and welcome again to Lift Institute Expert Sessions. In this series of short video discussions, experts from around the world share their knowledge, experience, and views on a variety of vertical transportation subjects. Today we'll be talking about sustainability in the vertical transportation industry. And to do that, we have our guest, Willem Punt. He's a quality and environmental manager for KONE. Thank you for coming here today.
You're welcome.
Now, tell us about what you do at KONE.
Well, as the quality and environmental manager, I'm responsible for all the things that has to do with, of course, the quality and environment. Such as keeping our certificates, managing the certificates, the one ISO 9001 and 14001. And to achieve our goals, I closely work together with the management, our European KONE team, and also with the global functions.
Got it. And you have a lot of experience in the industry, yes?
Well, yes, you could say that. I'm now 37 years within the industry. I started as a fitter and on the service business, and then being a troubleshooter, a manager in the service business, and I switched to installation for the new equipment and also the modernizations. I've managed major projects in the big cities of Netherlands. Nice. And in 2011 I became a member of the leadership team. And since 2019, I'm managing the quality and environment department.
Nice. Yeah, and quality and environment. So sustainability, needless to say, to a layperson, that is not what you think of when you think of lifts and escalators, vertical transportation. And how important is that to KONE and to the vertical transportation industry as a whole?
I think it's very important, but not only that, it's also for our world. So for everybody, it's very important. And we even got it 5 times mentioned in our strategy.
Like the word appears
like
5
the word,
times.
Sustainability, yeah.
Nice.
Sustainability, of course, is a sustainable relation with our customers, but also on being wanting to be the leader in sustainability. We will have it in our culture, really anchored, and also in our making our city smarter. We also wanted to do that in a sustainable way.
Okay. We had been talking about KONE and machine room less lifts. And they use less resources, they operate more efficiently, and so on, yes?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and it's a good example maybe of how something can save money and effort and be a simpler solution and also more sustainable. Yeah?
Absolutely, but we already implemented that, we invented that type of lift in the mid-90s and started installing them from that moment. It was not only cost saving on the building costs, so for the contractors, but also saving a lot of energy. So it was already, at that time, already a good solution for taking less resources.
Before that was the cool thing to do. Maybe.
Absolutely, yeah. We were the first one in the industry, so very proud of that.
Oh, that's great. Well, how would you define sustainability in general?
Sustainability is, of course, has a lot to do with the environment. So what kind of carbon footprint are we leaving behind? But it's more than that. It's also about diversity, inclusion, equity. So it's a very broad subject. But mainly now, I think, looking at the vertical transportation, we're really looking at the environmental and then what kind of footprint are we leaving behind. So we are really looking at, we call that scopes, scope 1, 2, and scope 3. Scope 1 and 2 is more like, what do you do as a company? What are you producing and leaving behind? So really about your own operations. So then you have to look at your own buildings, the facilities, the car fleet. And the scope 3 is more about what you put in the value chain. So you put a product into the market. What will that cause, and what kind of footprint will that leave behind?
Yeah, that makes sense. KONE, of course, works with a variety of supply chains. You know, you've got manufacturers around the world that might provide even one component for a lift. And how do you make that work? You know, how do you cope with that when it comes to pursuing a sustainable strategy?
Yeah, well, we have lots of factories over the world, and what we are doing actually is looking at using less water. We are installing solar panels. We also have all kind of activities in what we produce that we also compensate that by buying the certificates also for CO2. So lower our footprints.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about EPDs, which I understand. Tell the audience what EPD stands for and how they play into what you do for sustainability.
Yeah. Well, an EPD stands for Environmental Product Declaration, and that's a third-party certified way of looking at the product we actually produce from raw materials until the end of the life cycle.
Sure.
So it's a very long period in which is looked at how much wood is used, how much steel, copper, and so forth. And then our customer can exactly check this is what this installation will leave behind as a carbon footprint. And we have them for almost every product we install.
Interesting. So it's not, you can of course look up how much steel and copper are used, but you can also look up what the knock-on effects are, what the additional effects are because it consists of this much steel and copper, therefore what the pollution levels are and so forth.
Exact. Also, you can read how many already reused materials are put actually in the new product, but also how much can be recycled at the end of lifetime.
Sure.
Which is sometimes even up to 90% of the whole product. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose because the components can be disassembled, and so there's a good opportunity there for
Absolutely.
for
sure.
reuse. Well, that's a fantastic goal, and it sounds like there's a lot of opportunities there. What's the downsides? What are the challenges that you work with when you're pursuing this?
Well, the challenges that's more finding the balance between the costs and the carbon footprint, because I think we can do a lot more, but then the cost will rise.
Yes.
And then nobody, but then the market will go down for our company. So
Right.
we really have to find a good balance between that. And of course also our customers have to go along with us.
Yes.
So also finding, of course, our environment and the world very important.
Yeah.
And that we also invest in that for the future.
Yeah, and tell me about there was a project in Rotterdam involving reuse of materials. What was this?
Yeah, well, there was a very big office, a tower of about 24 floors, and it has six equipment, 6 lifts in it, and that had really to be totally modernized, the whole building. And we came up with a plan in which we could reuse our guide rails, the guide rails, so for the car and also for the counterweight, which is a lot of steel, also with all the brackets.
Sure.
We had to replace them, so they were not exactly the place where we needed them, so we had to do some work over there. But in the end, we managed to reuse them, and also for the landing doors.
Okay.
The landing doors, and that's really important because when you take them away, you really you're touching the building. So the marble on the floor and the walls, that has all to be renewed then, or healed to each other. So by reusing them, we didn't touch the building at all. Except then, of course, after the landing doors, and that was completely new installation after the modernization.
Yeah, so that was a good opportunity to save cost in one area.
In the end, it's not only it was not cost saving; it was more expensive.
Okay.
Because you had to do a lot of the rework.
Okay.
Yeah, so putting the guide rails behind, further away into the shaft, and replace them for the counterweight. That's of course it takes hours.
I see. Yeah.
And normally when you demolish them, you take them away and throw them on a truck, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And you can start from scratch on, and that's normal. In most of the times, it's more efficient.
Yeah. Interesting.
But not the best way of doing business.
Right. Yeah. What is there to know about the energy consumption of lifts? How much energy do they consume generally, and are there ways to reduce that?
Yeah, well, it's very difficult to say because it really depends on the product. It depends on the how many weight they can carry, the size of the lift.
Sure.
What we are constantly doing is finding also there the best balance you can have, and we're constantly seeking as a company also to reduce the energy cost.
Yeah.
What we also have done in the market is that we can capture energy back. A lift normally, when it's empty, the counterweight is more heavy than the car.
Yeah.
So when it goes empty up, it will actually generate power, which we actually can feed back to the grid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, and then the opposite is also true. So when the car is full with people, or full loaded, then it's more heavy, and it also only has to brake, and we're capturing that energy and give that back to the grid.
Nice.
So,
That's very innovative. Great. And Does this affect the safety of the product in any way? Like, it wouldn't seem to on a surface level, but how
No,
does that
no.
impact?
I also would say that the opposite. It's not. I think it's even more safe.
Okay.
When we look at systems, maintenance systems like 24/7 connected services, which we have, then we have constantly on monitoring our equipments. So we see in a very early stage already that if things go wrong, we get a signal and we can send our fitters over.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So no concessions made on safety.
Yeah, nice.
And what also is very important, what we have is that a program internally that's about home safe every day. So we really find it very, very important that our people, when they go from home to their work, that they come home safely. But it also goes, of course, for the end users in our products.
What are some innovations in the maintenance area, maintaining lifts that might help in a sustainability direction?
Yeah, well, we can divide it also in two parts. One of our own operations, so in which we are now switching really from the combustion cars, so the diesels and the petrols to EVs, for sure. So that's a very big thing.
Yeah.
And when you look at the products, due to the 24/7 maintenance, connected services, we can actually monitor, and we can also say, well, we see that something's about to happen over there. Then we can combine that with a service visit, so that we only visit that installation once instead of 2 times while we're waiting for a breakdown.
Got it.
And once we have a breakdown somewhere, and the fitter says, well, I'm ready now, so he closes his job, then the system says, okay, this is the nearest by next job for you. So in that way, we also saving a lot of travel around.
So the sort of optimization that a ride-sharing company might do to connect people with a nearby maintenance person, which helps with trip costs and it can help sustainability in that way, but also helps the client to get services as quickly as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. And when you have a call out and you can combine it actually with a service visit, then you only have to put the lift out of operation once instead of twice.
Nice.
And so it's
great.
That's very good.
For KONE and maybe even for the industry, what are the long-term goals? 2030, 2050, even what are you pursuing?
Yeah, well, on the 2030, then our climate pledge comes in. We have a pledge in which we say, well, we want to reduce 50% of our own operations, and everything at least 50%, and what's left we will compensate that. And when we look at our product chain and value chain, we want to do about 40% less.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's for 2030. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, and for 2050, then we will keep on searching for all possibilities on reuse. And find every way to lower the consumption of the raw materials.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you for joining us, Willem.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Welcome.
And thank you for watching at home, Lift Institute Expert Session. You can find more editions of these expert sessions on our YouTube channel, so search YouTube for Lift Institute and click subscribe. Did you know these expert sessions are also available as a podcast? Go to your favorite podcast app and search for Lift Institute, and you can find us there. If you have an interesting topic in mind for a future expert session, then let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time for another Lift Institute Expert Session.